Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into something special, a book that completely changed how I think about money. It's called The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Instead of just listing the lessons, I want to tell you a story about a guy named Harry, and how he learned these 18 powerful lessons the hard way. Our story begins with Harry, a young and ambitious guy who just landed a great job. He was smart, worked hard, and the paycheck started rolling in. Harry's first big lesson was one he didn't even realize he was learning. No one is crazy. His colleague, Sarah, saved every penny, living super frugally. His other colleague, Ben, spent his money on fancy dinners and trips. Harry thought Ben was reckless and Sarah was missing out on life. But Housel's first lesson is that our financial decisions are shaped by our unique life experiences. Sarah grew up with very little, so security was her priority. Ben's family believed in enjoying life to the fullest. Neither was crazy. They were just products of their different worlds. As Harry's income grew, so did his confidence. He started investing in stocks, chasing the hottest trends. This is where he learned his second lesson, the role of luck and risk. He made a quick profit on a tech stock and thought he was a genius. He completely ignored the element of luck, the fact that he just happened to buy at the right time. But then, he took a bigger risk on a similar stock and lost a significant chunk of his money. He learned that luck and risk are two sides of the same coin. You can credit all your success to skill without acknowledging that bad luck can wipe you out just as easily. This loss led Harry to a crucial realization. Lesson number 3. Never enough. He saw wealthy people around him, people with millions, still taking huge risks to get even more. They were pushing their luck, risking what they had and needed for what they didn't have and didn't need. Harry decided he needed to define his own enough. He didn't want to be on a never-ending treadmill of wanting more. So he set a clear financial goal for what would make him happy and secure. This brought him to the fourth lesson, the confounding of compounding. Harry used to think building wealth was about finding that one 10-bagger stock. But then he studied Warren Buffett. He learned that Buffett's real secret wasn't just being a great investor, it was being a great investor for over 75 years. The real magic is time. So, Harry stopped chasing quick wins and started a simple, consistent investment plan in a low-cost index fund. He understood that small, consistent contributions over a long time would create wealth far beyond any risky bet. With this new long-term mindset, Harry learned lesson 5. Getting wealthy is different from staying wealthy. Getting wealthy often requires taking risks and being optimistic. But staying wealthy requires the opposite, paranoia and an acceptance that things can go wrong. He started building an emergency fund, diversifying his investments, and creating a buffer. He learned that survival is the key to long-term success. You have to stay in the game long enough for compounding to work its magic. As he watched the market go up and down, Harry learned a powerful lesson about human nature. Lesson 6. Tails, you win. He noticed that in the world of venture capital, a huge portion of the returns came from a tiny number of blockbuster investments. The same is true for the stock market. Most of the market's gains come from a few big winners. This taught Harry not to panic when some of his individual investments didn't do well. As long as his overall portfolio was diversified and captured the big winners, the losers didn't matter as much. The most profound lesson for Harry was number 7, freedom. For a while, he thought money was for buying fancy things, a new car, a bigger apartment, but he noticed that these things only brought temporary happiness. What really made a difference was having control over his time. The ability to wake up and say, I can do whatever I want today, was the highest dividend money could pay. He started valuing his savings not by the stuff it could buy, but by the days of freedom it represented. This led directly to lesson 8, the man in the car paradox. When Harry saw someone driving a Ferrari, he used to think, wow, that guy is so cool. But he never thought about the guy himself. He just used the car as a benchmark for his own desire. He realized that people don't admire you for your possessions. They admire the possessions themselves. Chasing wealth to gain admiration from others is a fool's game. Which brought him to lesson 9. Wealth is what you don't see. Harry had a neighbor who drove a brand new luxury car and lived in a beautiful house. Everyone thought he was rich, but Harry later found out the man was drowning in debt. His wealth was negative. True wealth isn't the car you drive or the clothes you wear. It's the money you haven't spent. It's the financial assets in your portfolio that offer you freedom and options. Wealth is hidden. So, Harry adopted a new strategy. Learning lesson 10. Save money. Just save. He realized you don't need a specific reason to save. You can save for a car, a down payment, or a medical emergency. But you can also save for opportunities or problems that are impossible to predict. Building wealth has less to do with your income or investment returns, and more to do with your savings rate. As Harry continued on his financial journey, he grappled with lesson 11, the difference between reasonable and rational. On paper, it's rational to put all your money into the highest returning assets. But in reality, that might cause so much stress during a downturn that you panic and sell at the worst possible time. Harry learned it's better to be reasonable than rational. He chose a slightly more conservative investment strategy, one that let him sleep at night. A good plan you can stick with is far better than a perfect plan you abandon. This dovetailed with Lesson 12, Surprise. Harry realized that history is a poor guide for the future of the economy. Experts are terrible at predicting recessions or market booms. The most important economic events are the ones we never see coming. So, instead of trying to predict the future, Harry focused on being resilient. His emergency fund and diversified portfolio were his defense against the inevitable surprises the world would throw at him. He also had to learn Lesson 13, Room for Error. Harry used to plan his finances down to the last dollar. But life is messy. Cars break down, jobs are lost, opportunities pop up. He learned to build a margin of safety into his financial life. He saved more than he thought he would need and aimed for investment returns that were good, not phenomenal. This buffer gave him endurance and flexibility. As time went on, Harry noticed a major change in himself, which is Lesson 14. You'll change. The person he was at 20 had different goals and desires than the person he was at 30. He realized that making a rigid 40-year financial plan was a mistake because his future self would likely want different things. The lesson was to avoid extreme financial planning and to value flexibility. He made sure his financial plan could adapt as he changed as a person. He also stopped listening to financial gurus who promised guaranteed results. Learning Lesson 15. Nothing's free. Everything has a price, but it's not always obvious. The price of successful stock market investing isn't a fee. It's volatility, fear, doubt, and uncertainty. You have to be willing to pay that price to earn the long-term returns. Once Harry accepted this, market downturns stopped feeling like fines and started feeling like fees, normal cost of doing business. With this knowledge, Harry became a better long-term thinker. He learned Lesson 16, You and Me. He understood that he shouldn't take financial cues from people who were playing a different game. A day trader operates on a different timeline with different goals than a long-term investor saving for retirement. It's crucial to identify your own game and not get swayed by the actions and opinions of others playing a different one. He also embraced Lesson 17, The Seduction of Pessimism. Harry noticed that financial news is overwhelmingly negative. Pessimism sounds smart and intellectual, while optimism can sound like a sales pitch. But in the long run, the optimists are the ones who win. Markets go up over time, and innovation drives progress. Pessimism might be seductive, but it's optimism that builds wealth. Finally, we come to the last and most important lesson, number 18. When you believe all of this, you'll start to see a deeper truth about money. It's not a spreadsheet, it's a story. Harry's story, your story, my story. Our relationship with money is messy, emotional, and deeply personal. It's more about psychology than it is about finance. The best financial plan is one that acknowledges your own tendencies, your fears, and your goals, and helps you write a good story for yourself. Harry's journey from a naive young professional to a wise, financially secure man wasn't about complex formulas or secret stock picks. It was about understanding himself. He learned that managing money is less about what you know and more about how you behave. And that is the true psychology of money. I hope Harry's story helped illustrate these timeless lessons. I highly recommend reading The Psychology of Money for yourself. It's a game changer. What was your favorite lesson from this story? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.